Hello and welcome to a book review. And today's book review is Monstrous by Nicole Rubino. This book is very, very shiny, so the light might not pick it up very well. But this is the special edition book that came in the Butterfly Book Club's fantasy subscription box for October. And it is one of the very few book subscription boxes that actually had a book that dealt with horror in it for Halloween. Because the other book boxes decided that they weren't. It was all romance, and for Halloween, romance isn't that bad, but you want a little something, to sink your teeth into. So we're going to do the blurbs, and then because of the book subscription service doing something a little bit different, we're going to do something a little bit different too. So this is the blurb. I've never been afraid of the dark. I've never needed any reassurance that there was no monster in my closet or under my bed. Perhaps that's because part of me always knew I was one. Monstrous claws weren't the type of gift I'd been expecting for my 18th birthday, along with the desire to eat my ex-boyfriend. Yet those beastly traits and carnivorous urges are the exact reason I'm here at Alistair University. Alistair University was all I heard about growing up. Its prestige and exclusivity could rival any Ivy League. But that's not the real reason that sets the school apart from others. Everyone at this school is a monster, like me. I should feel safe here. This school will afford me the opportunity to hone my monstrous abilities and curb my carnivorous urges. Not to mention I have a fierce girl gang by my side guiding me every step of the way. But then decapitated bodies start showing up on campus. Someone is killing off students, and in a school full of monsters, everyone is a suspect. Yet all eyes are on Nick Cavellos, a boy whose charm is as deadly as his claws, and who I can't seem to stay away from. Despite danger lurking around every corner, I'm determined to prove Nick's innocence. But in order to do that, I'll have to let my monstrous side loose. I just don't know what I'm more afraid of. Coming face to face with a bloodthirsty monster, or myself. Offering a sinister twist on your typical Greek mythology stories, Monstrous is the first in a 3-book dark fantasy series filled with jaw-dropping twists, heart-stopping romance, and deadly cliffhangers. If you were a Percy Jackson fan but now your tastes are darker, this series is for you. So that was a blurb for this book, and it sounded really, really interesting to me. It sounded like something I'd like. So we are going to do something a little bit different. Because in this subscription box comes prompt cards. And they have page numbers on. So it'll ask you questions about what you think of the book going through it. It'll ask you where you think things are going, which are quite fun to read back when you've finished the book. Now, going through these prompt cards might contain a couple of spoilers, so if you want to remain spoiler-free, click to this time up there, and you will skip the prompt cards completely. So we are going to dive right into the prompt cards now. And prompt 1 was for page 38, and it was a "Did you guess what she was?" Now, all of the kids that go to this school are monsters or can turn into different types of Greek mythology monsters. Did I guess what monster Ree was? And what I wrote down on the back was, didn't have a clue, too busy trying to keep track of everyone, what they were and how they interact and how they fit in the story together. Which I think is a great answer, because I had absolutely... She could have been anything, to be honest. I didn't guess what she was at all. I didn't guess what any of them were at all. So that was prompt number 1. Prompt 2 is getting in with some early predictions. Do you think she's right? Will one of them die? And this is reference to one of the characters called Cassandra making a prophecy that someone is going to die. Doesn't say when, doesn't say who, but to guess who was going to die, what I put was, one of them is bound to, not everyone can emerge unscathed. I think it is going to be Scarlet. It would cause the most pain to the friend group and to Nick. She's the happy glue that holds them all together. If I wanted to hurt all of them in one fell swoop, I would go for her. Now, I'm not going to say whether I was right or whether I was wrong, but that's prompt number 2. And that was on page 62. So prompt number 3 is on page 108, And it is, what do you think of Ree and the girl gang so far? Now, I really liked them. I like how it's so easy, them falling into friendship so quickly and completely. Ree is a wonderful main character, a perfect blend of humble and sassy. Which, yeah, the friend group is just, it's so easy to fall into, but I don't think it could have done to be a bit more. She met them and instantly they were all the best of friends. I think that would have taken just a little bit longer. So prompt 4 is on page 149, and it is, how would you deal with Kieran if you had the chance? Now, Kieran is a swine. A slimy, smarmy, horrible character. And I've just put, the realm of possibilities are endless, but it wouldn't be quick, that's for damn sure. Because he is the worst kind of person with the worst kind of power that a slimy little cretin can possibly have. And his power is just awful. So prompt 5 is for page 249, and it's, why do you think Nick can't say his real name? So what I wrote on the back of this was, I think it's either a curse or because of the connotation of the name, e.g. Lucifer, as that was the only dark prince that Ree read about. It reminds me of Fallen in so many ways, and I'm going to come back to that point when the prompts are done, because that is going to be a very big point. And then we have an author prompt, which has no page on it, but I just put it in here just anywhere. And the author prompt is, based on what you know of Nick's powers, what sort of monster do you think he is? And on the back I put, I think he's a Titan, one of those that Zeus imprisoned after escaping the stomach of his father Cronus. So the Titans were a very strong monsters. They're just very big and dangerous. I thought he was one of them. Prompt 7 is page 404, and it says, what do you know about this monster? And this is the monster that is the killer, is killing the students. And I just put, I bet it's Josh in big gigantic capital letters. I will neither confirm nor deny that one. Now the last prompt is prompt 8, and that was for page 417, and it says, surprise, did you see this coming? And this is right at the confrontation, at the end, the final confrontation, and unfortunately I put, unfortunately yes, and it is more like Fallen than I like, which we will come to. Yeah, and then we have just the prompts for the read-along for that one. That's the Discord popping off. A few of my friends have gone live. So yeah, so in every book box you get these wonderful little prompts to help you go through the story. I find it easy, and I find I like them when I'm writing up or recording reviews for the books. So what I want to discuss at the minute is the look of this book. I know that the ring light doesn't really like it because it's gold, but it's creamy, it's golden. But what I will say is, I don't know whether you can see on here, but with my reading it, you can see here and on the spine down here and a bit on the back where you can see the snake up here and it's like some of the claw marks. The gold foiling does rub off really easily if you are holding it when you're reading it like this. And I think I was holding it like this at some point, and then I was like this or like this. So yeah, when reading this, I would recommend at least this version to take the cover off of it, just so that nothing else gets, because I could run my finger over it really hard and it would come off. Okay, it doesn't do it on any of the other ones. It might just be because it's gold. And the sprayed edges, although it's a scene in the book that I don't particularly like, they are really artistic. Now, one thing I did like about the writing in this is it has a dual POV. It has the perspective of Ree, which is our main female character, and Nick, which is our male lead. I would have liked sort of a anonymous POV of our monster as well, but dual POV is what we've got, and I think that works really, really well. Now, I did love reading it. I did like reading it. I got so far and I couldn't put it down anymore. But my criticism, and it's a very big criticism, so if you don't like negativity surrounding books, skip ahead. Because although I liked it and I couldn't put it down, and it did get 4 stars, there was one thing that once I caught on, I couldn't let it go. And that is that this book is too much like this book. So if you've been watching my channel, I haven't done a full review of these. This is my favourite YA series. When everybody was hyping up Twilight, this is the series that I was in a chokehold with. And as such, when things start getting similar, I instantly think of this. And there were a lot of things similar. This has the same setting. It's a school for... This is a school for monsters, and this ended up being a school for angels and demons. It has the same themes, which is like romance, star-crossed lovers, romance against the odds. They can't be together. There's a pivotal friend group, very, very close in both of these books, that determines the outcome of it. It's got introduction of the same characters near the end in this and a few books later in this. But it's the same characters in the same kind of way. It even has fencing playing a pivotal role in these books. Not in this one, but in the second book, Torment, which is this one. It has fencing playing a pivotal role in the story, which this one does, and this one does. And this is book 2 of the Fallen series. Even the sort of religious myth, it's too similar. Way too similar. So whereas this one deals with Greek myth, Greek creatures, and tends to overlap, this one deals with the Christian myth. So angels, demons, everything that's entwined with that is in this and this, as well as Greek myth as well. This one sort of flip-flops towards the Christian myth, whereas this one just dives headlong into it. But what Fallen put into 3 books, because that Passion is the 3rd one, this one crams into 1. And when I say it crams, it doesn't read like it crams, and Fallen doesn't read slow. It just, Fallen has more meat on the bone than this does. Which left me a little bit dizzy at the end because it seems a little bit rushed. And there's so much that happens at the end of this. If it had been eked out a little bit longer, and the confrontation, and it ended when the confrontation ended, instead of having a load of stuff tacked on at the back that could have been put in the next book. I haven't read the next book yet, it's not out yet. It is out yet. It is out, it's called Venomous. I just think it could have helped a little bit more. So it did take some of the fun out of it. I did, when, you know, like when you see something, you can't unsee it. And I started seeing the similarities right near the beginning. Even with the reveal of who it was at the end. Yeah. Not the reveal of who was the monster, because I thought that was so in line with Fallen that I was wrong. But the tacked on bit at the end is, yeah, it's too much like it for me to be surprised. So I'm hoping that because of course I'm going to read the next book because I liked this. I liked it. It just had too much similarities to something that I adore for me to give it more than I was giving. If it didn't have all those similarities, I probably would have given it a 5. Now, in saying that, am I accusing the author of plagiarising? No. No, 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 no. It's not so similar as to be copying. Now, Fallen came out in... Oh, God, I'm going to date myself now. Fallen came out in 2009, and this came out in 2024. Do I think it's copying? No. No, I don't. Do I think that there are similarities? Absolutely. Do I think that the author read Fallen before? Probably. And you know when you read things and things stick in your head but you can't really remember where they are? Things stay in your subconscious and you end up using them? I think that's kind of what's happened. I'm just speculating. Do I think she's copied? No. I want to make that abundantly clear. I do not think that the author has plagiarised this with that. Absolutely not. No, 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 no. Do I think she had a few ideas? Yeah. But then, so does everybody else. I mean, if we rounded up everybody who used Greek mythology in the books, hardly anybody would be writing anymore. It just happens. But because I love that series so much, because it is ingrained in my head that the least little thing in this would pop it out to me, unfortunately it popped it out to me, and it popped it out a little bit too much. Now, the author noted in the beginning, or was it on the author letter that we got in here, that as much as she wrote for the star-crossed lovers of Rhea and Nick, she also wrote for strong female friendship characters. And that really, really comes across. This is a tight group of girls, and they have each other's back, they can tell each other secrets, their powers help each other. They are really, really a girl boss band of women that would be great to hang out with. Even if near the end of it, Rhea starts blowing them off in favour of spending time with Nick, which I'm glad she comes to regret, because I just felt that was, for how the story's going, for the rules they put in place, because this murderer's running around campus, I think she was a bit dismissive. You know when you get so comfortable in a situation that you don't realise how dangerous it is? I think that's what Rhea got, and she got a wake-up call for that one. Now, a character I didn't like, which you're not meant to like, is the character of Kieran, which I alluded to in the prompt cards. I hated him with a passion on sight. He just slid off the page. He's just an awful character. Awful, wonderfully written, but an awful, smarmy, ugh. And he's like that before you find out what he's done. Before you find out what his power is. He's just disgusting. You feel like you'd stood near him and you'd be covered in slime. And after finding out what his power is, how he's been using it, what he's been doing, you want to rip him apart yourself. Because, and his comeuppance, his ending is not nearly as, I think he gets off lightly. Too lightly for what he's been doing. So I wish we'd have got a little bit more, grime and worm tonguey with him. Now, one thing that did surprise me on finding out that this was incorporating Greek mythology, because I didn't think it would with its, when reading the blurb, it was only at the end when it mentioned that it took creatures from Greek mythology that I realised that it did. Surprisingly, it does it really, really well. And it's a lot more, it incorporates Greek mythology a lot better than some of the Greek mythology ones that are actually set in Greece. Because this isn't set in Greece, this is set in America. So the monsters, they're all Greek mythology inspired. It gets this monster trait, these powers get passed down hereditary. And it isn't just the beasts and monsters of Greek myth, the gods and goddesses get in on the action themselves as well. And I think in the next book, we're going to get a lot more of that. And the clash between Greek mythology and Christian mythology, I'm not sure how that's going to play. Because most of the time, books stick to either one or the other. They don't try and scrunch them all together. Which I think this is where it's going. But my favourite character in this isn't part of the girl group. isn't part of the school, isn't part of the love interest, and isn't the main characters. She is a side character that we only get to meet right near the end of the book, but I definitely hope she's going to be in the next one. And that is the character of Circe. Now, Circe is a Greek goddess, and she's so manipulative, dangerous, menacing, and her whole aura whenever she's on the page, you can when you're reading it, you can feel like dark smoke coming off the page when you're reading her. She reminds me of the goddess Eris out of Sinbad, but that's who I was visualising when I was reading her whenever she came in on the page. And like I said, she's only in it right near the end, but she has such presence and there's such an atmosphere around her that I hope we get her in the next book, and I'm fairly certain we will. Like I said, this book got 4 stars from me. It's a great young adult fantasy. Now, I don't know whether I can label it as young adult or not. I think it's labelled as young adult on Goodreads. But there's a scene in here that I don't know whether it should be young adult or not, which ties in with the sprayed edges. Now, when I was unboxing this book, I think I said something about the sprayed edges. And I'll play that clip here. Just like that. I swear to God, if this has blood play in it, I'm gonna scream. Not kink shaming anybody that likes to read that, but I have read a dark romance that had blood play in it, and it is not my kind of thing at all. I wish I was wrong, because the sex scene that is in this, and there is only one, and it is very, very graphic. It is graphic blood play. And that is something that I can't deal with it's not that I can't read it, I just find it disgusting and repulsive. And so that's why I don't know whether I can class this as a young adult fantasy, because that section, it goes on for a few pages, is very graphic and includes blood play. If you don't know what blood play is, don't look it up. But sort of look at these spread edges. I said it was a sex scene. You can imagine. So I'm going to probably say that this is adult fantasy instead, just because of that scene. And I know some books shove sex scenes in to raise the age up. I don't think this was doing that on purpose, but I think it's a conclusion or a come out of including it in the first place. But yeah, if you've read this book, let me know down below, and if you've read the second one, let me know what you thought of that one as well, because I want to know, but no spoilers, just let me know.